AMA, Tuesday, May 31st. Jack McMullen, Aram Layton, last in-person episode before I leave and you fold the company.
Thank God.
Yeah, right?
Thank God. We just survived a week together.
I know. I wasn't going to survive another day, so I figure might as well wait. I'll send you my 2 weeks via email. It's probably not good to say it in person.
Just the second you get on the plane.
Yeah. Hey, man, by the way, I hated every moment of being with you.
I'm out.
I'm out. I'm so out. This was good. We toured the South. We went a couple of places that we did not think we were ever going to get to. Obviously, we're going to talk about somebody getting slapped in the face by another adult male because of fantasy football.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the lead of the show. But before we do that, just to give you a glimpse of what we just did, we recorded a bunch of prospect interviews that you'll be able to hear on the call up this week. We've got interviews with Joey Weimer and Sal Frelick of the AA affiliate of the Milwaukee Brewers coming out. They're both top 100 guys.
Both top 100 guys for us. And watching them reinforce that, talking to them, reinforce that even more. Dude. Both have the right psyche and mentality in different ways, right? I mean, Sal, we talked about it, most comfortable dude we've ever interviewed, we've ever talked to. And then Joey is one of the most unique and I would say just kind of knows how he ticks so well that he knows how to play towards himself. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense. And if that doesn't make sense, just listen to the episode and you'll get an idea of what we're talking about. But Joey's one of the most unique and funny dudes I think I've spoken to in the minor leagues, period.
I think I'm allowed to spoil this. He's quick one-liner. But for the full conversation, obviously go over to the call up. We'll also probably put this out on our social media channels. Follow us on Instagram at Just Baseball Show. And of course, Just Baseball Fans on TikTok. But we asked Joey what, he's tried to focus on as he has gotten into pro ball. And he said, leaving baseball at the field, stuff like that. And you followed up and said, what do you do when you go home? And he said, play Minecraft and watch Family Guy. That's a top 100 prospect. That's a future probable MLB All-Star. Yeah. I'd say probable over possible. After watching him, I feel like it's more probable than possible that he's an All-Star and he goes home and plays Minecraft and watches Family Guy. So I'm all the way in on that.
Makes me feel a lot better about myself.
Oh my God, yeah.
So combing through fan graphs at night and I feel like a loser. And my girlfriend will be like, Aram, it's 2 a.m. Like pull up the computer and go to bed. And I'm like, really, I'm that annoying at this point. So if Joey Weimer's watching Family Guy and playing Minecraft, I feel a lot better about myself because that guy, we watched him put one over the Visit Mississippi sign. I think it was 114 miles an hour. Yeah. Absolute shot. So that was a great conversation. And then we came out to Pensacola, got to sit down with, my good friend, Griffin Conine, who now I'm excited is a buddy of yours. And got to hang out with the Blue Wahoos a lot, but then also talking to Zach McCambly, who is an extremely talented pitcher and another funny dude. If you're watching on YouTube, we use this baseball to talk pitch scripts. Yep. So we'll put that on our social too, because he has one of the best sliders in the minor leagues, period. Yeah. And it was really cool talking to him and talking pitch scripts. So very excited for you guys to check that out on the call up. And probably some of the best interviews we've ever done, probably because they were in person and also because we knew most of those guys. So it was really fun, really informative. And can't wait for people to check that out. Yeah,
and Zach McCambly was the one pitcher that we talked to, and that guy I think is exactly how I want my pitchers to function, where it's so relaxed and cool and calm, but the guy knows his shit. Yeah, more than anybody, he knows his shit.
It's funny, you talk to him off the field, you're like, that's a super laid back dude. And then you talk to him in baseball, you're like, oh my gosh, that guy's like all focused, all in, very detail oriented, and that is the perfect balance of the two. So again, I think people will really enjoy that.
Yeah, so we flew into Atlanta. We got Braves Phillies last Monday. On Tuesday, we got a rain-soaked SEC tournament, Tuesday and Wednesday, where we only saw 2 baseball games and both featured the University of Alabama. That was a rain-soaked SEC tournament. Wish we got more baseball there, but you know what? C'est la vie, such is life. Then we went to Biloxi, Mississippi, which turns out to be the casino capital of the South, which was full-blown hilarious. And if you can make it work and you like casinos, I kind of recommend Biloxi, Mississippi.
Yeah, I'm a big dog there now.
Yeah, high roller. No, not high roller. You're a big deal.
I'm a big deal. I'm a big deal in Biloxi.
Yeah.
I lost $100 on the blackjack table. I'm a big deal in Biloxi. They know me there.
Big deal in Biloxi.
And if, for those who might not be might not know the reference here. Perfect segue.
Yeah, great segue. Batting practice. We saw a grown man smack the shit out of another grown man. And we learned that it was because of fantasy football, where he put somebody that was week to week on the injured reserve.
We don't need to get into, I don't like to get very like political on here. So we're not going to
talk about fantasy football.
No, we're not going to talk about the IR because I think that's a very sticky situation with COVID and the IR is very complicated.
Yeah. So now I think we should talk about the GOP.
Yeah. So let's talk politics. That's much more simple and less controversial. Let's talk about the 2024 election.
Yeah, perfect.
No, but it was obviously something that, I mean, we all argue. I've had some of the most heated arguments with my buddies with fantasy football. Yes. But like, but here's the thing. It's like a heated argument that like still, even if it got to its like tipping point, we're just yelling back and forth. It would never be physical. You know what I'm saying? Like it's still at the end of the day, it's whimsical and no one actually cares.
You know what it's like? It's like that, the Wizard of Oz video. You know what I'm talking about? His sister was a witch, the Wicked Witch of the East. Bro. Like that's what that is. It's just, it does not matter. No. And here we are with a guy who, had a very rough upbringing. Obviously, has had some stuff tick before. Like that's been well documented with Tommy Pham. Like he's not from the best background, and things just blew crazy out of proportion for him, and that was just bizarre.
But that's the crazy thing to me is like you've had these challenges. He was stabbed. Tommy Pham was stabbed,
and he's worried about fantasy football.
He's more angry about and it's a year later. It's the ability to hold on to that anger that is crazy to me. To be mad about it for like a year. And the other thing that's amazing to me is the restraint from Joc Pederson, because you are getting. We talked about this. I'm not a fighter at all. Like I will almost never instigate a fight. But the second you get slapped hard, that adrenaline and anger kicks in, and you're ready to go right. You're ready to go right back. Or Joc Pederson just eats it, and then in the press conference, was just kind of like, he slapped me, and violence isn't the answer. So I just kind of walked away.
Dude, I love how Joc leaned into it. I thought that was hilarious. Like in the, it was 3 minutes uninterrupted about, what happened in fantasy football. Like, how do you not crack a smile talking about that?
Well, part of me was like, is this guy actually serious?
Right.
Is Joc that weird?
Was it like a deadpan bit where he was like, oh no, I'm kidding. Like I did something bad to him. Like, no, it was IR thing.
But did Joc actually think that was like a serious and normal story? Or do you think because he doesn't break character for 1 second. He's dead serious.
Yep.
The whole time, going in detail about the IR and all of those things, and like legitimately giving the insight, not just like, it was a stupid fantasy football thing. I don't know why he's still mad about it. It was like in detail that he even said the player was Jeff Wilson.
Yeah,
it was Jeff. And also that's the craziest part.
It's Jeff Wilson.
It's Jeff Wilson. He's not like stashing, a superstar on the map.
Right?
Yeah, like what? Jeff Wilson. So that's the craziest part. But also the willingness to share the specific player makes me think either he just also ticks differently, but in a funnier way, or he just fully leaned into it. I think Joc is one of those guys that knows exactly what he's doing. Yeah. The pearls, the haircut.
The hair.
Did you see the hat he was wearing in the follow-up interview?
How about the crappy mustache too?
Gosh. I love Joc Pederson.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is we were talking about him with 4 home runs in 2 games, and now we're talking about him getting slapped. Tommy Pham got 3 games for that. And I understand that suspension, I guess, but that is about what? Closer to Marcell Ozuna's suspension than it should be. It's still right. It's still a fraction of it, but it's 3 times 7 hits you to 21. So was Marcell Ozuna's instance 7 times worse? I think it was 1 million times worse.
Not to get political,
but slapping somebody is a lot worse than what Marcell.
A lot better
than what Marcell Ozuna did. Is the way to phrase that. But I want to just lean into Joc a little bit more because I think this guy's a wonderful enigma that I hope through this gets a little bit more coverage as just one of those funny, weird ass dudes, because I love that for baseball. I love the weirdo personalities because I know that my friends that aren't big baseball fans are going to be like, yo, is that the guy that got slapped over fantasy football? and like listen to an interview and see that he's just hilarious. Like he's probably gonna be on Part of My Take.
Oh my God.
Joc's gonna be on Part of My Take. He has to be soon.
Yeah.
I guarantee they've already put out a feeler for him.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be the funniest interview ever.
Well, and like this is also the guy that, you know, when asked why he got a pearl necklace, he said, because I'm a bad bitch. Like that guy totally understands what he's doing. And I love it. I love his vibe. My other favorite thing about this was the day after in the follow-up interview, he brought the receipt of the GIF that he made of like the Dodgers, the Giants, and the Padres. And like the Padres was the one like, I don't know, like peeing on the fire hydrant or something.
That's what the GIF was?
Yeah, it was just a weird GIF. Like it was a weird GIF, and it was, you know, pretty much like, oh, the Dodgers and the Giants are great, and then the Padres stink. Like it was just friendly banter between professional baseball players.
And Tommy Pham's like, I would get down like that. Like
yeah.
You said something mad.
Bro, I'm gonna beat the fuck out of you.
You said something bad about my teammates. And it was funny, I saw somebody like, oh, now he cares about the Padres? Because he had his own burned bridges with the Padres. So he sends a GIF, and that's the funny thing too, is like you can tell for Joc, it was very clearly I don't think he thought it was a legitimate argument, because he sent a GIF, and like that's what we do in our chat all the time. We'll send funny GIFs and whatever. Imagine getting mad about a GIF.
I understand if it's like slandering you, but like it's your employer at the end of the day. Like
it's just like we're in first and you're not. Like it's not that not that deep. Like it's just a GIF.
Here's the other thing. Like if I sent a GIF saying like like just using us as an example, right? Because you know what we do is different than John Boy, but I think a lot of people outside of this that know what John Boy is are like, oh, are you guys trying to do John Boy? And the answer is no.
No.
But if somebody said like a GIF that pretty much equated to John Boy greater than just baseball, like,
or like him peeing on us.
Yeah, like
I bet you're right.
Yeah, I'd be like,
you're right.
Yeah, like,
he's much bigger than us. He's awesome
right now. Yeah, but it's just one of those where like you can't get pissed about that.
No,
like, have a thicker skin.
Yeah, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. But I'm here for that story. I think that was one of the more fun stories in baseball in a while. Just the unfortunate part is it's fun for like the Joc side. It's funny for the Joc side, but I would say this. I like on a serious note. Tommy Pham's very much hurting his outlook baseball wise. You know,
there's no chance somebody signs him after this.
You know, and I don't want to equate him to, you know, it's a very difficult spot because usually and unfortunately in professional sports, it's criminal charges that put a guy out. You know, Tommy Pham hasn't had that happen, you know, recently. And here's the thing though, if he's detrimental to the clubhouse, which I think is very clear.
No.
You know, I just don't see why you're keeping a guy with a 100 WRC plus around in the outfield when you know he's burning bridges, you know he's contentious, and you know he's a loose cannon. Tommy Pham's hurting himself, and it's funny because he goes, you know, I'm a big deal in Vegas.
Yeah.
He's not even a big deal in Cincinnati. And that's the reality of it. And now he's going to probably come and slap the shit out of me. But, you know, that's the tough part is I bring up Jeff a lot because he's been so informative for me. Jeff Conine, not Jeff Wilson. Yeah. Jeff Conine, our advisor.
See, Jeff Wilson has been super informative for me.
Yes. Don't put him on
a mentor.
Don't put him on the IL.
Yeah, no. The IR.
IR.
Crossing sports.
Yeah, crossing sports here at Baseball Mind. You know, Jeff Conine's been so informative, but just teaching me so many things about what goes on the inside of the game, you know, what goes on in the clubhouse and the business side of things too. And Jeff, he said what he really felt like prolonged his career is that people wanted him in the clubhouse, and he prided himself on that. So, you know, when he was 41 years old and not that great of a baseball player anymore, and he'll be the first to tell you that, he continued to get opportunities and continued to, you know, play on big league teams because he was somebody that people like to have in the clubhouse, and he loved to take guys under his wing and mentor him. Brian Roberts, I had the pleasure to meet, former Oriole.
Yeah.
I said, hey, you know, great meeting you. Did you play with, you know, did you know Jeff Conine pretty well? Obviously, you guys play together. He goes, that guy was my mentor. And that happened more often than not. I'm not saying Tommy Pham has to mentor people, but it's kind of the opposite here, right? I mean, if you are going to poison the well, it's just not worth it unless you're a superstar. Unless you're a superstar.
Right.
And Tommy Pham ain't that. He's only a superstar in Vegas, apparently.
Well, no, he's a big deal.
He's a big deal.
He didn't say superstar.
Yeah,
so who would be a Vegas superstar? MJ?
Yeah, but even then, I don't. Yeah, he's a billionaire.
Yeah, MJ. He's a big time.
And here's the thing: is Tommy Pham really a big deal in Vegas?
No, he's not.
No chance.
No shot.
he'd be a big deal in Biloxi.
He probably sits at like the $100 minimum table, and he thinks that
He
constitutes
plays two hands at once.
Yeah, at a big deal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, as somebody that didn't drop a and roulette, yeah, I threw a couple bucks on roulette.
Yeah, you lost 20.
I lost $20. So and I was down for the count for a couple of days. So I think of myself as a big deal in Biloxi. I guess Tommy Pham can think of himself as a big deal in Vegas as well. But yeah, I find that clubhouse dynamic really interesting, and I don't think this guy gets signed to a major league deal again after this,
unless he lights the world on fire over the rest of the season.
And by the way, if you haven't looked at Tommy Pham's Savant page recently, like there's a lot of red on that Savant page, which I had no idea, because I mean, he was hitting what, like $110 for the first month of the season.
I'll say he's been hot.
He's been hot.
He's been hot.
He's been hot emotionally too.
Yeah,
he's been riding hot.
Correct.
So
that's an interesting story. And here's the thing too: is I think that was a signing for the Reds where it was, let's sign a dude that could play well, and we flip at the deadline. I'm good.
I'm good.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, and he's playing well enough to at least get them some sort of prospect if he continues on this track. But
who wants it?
Who wants it? I look at, like, I always talk about the Marlins. We're talking about it because, like, who would you go get to help the Marlins outfield? That could be a good, cheap little addition to throw a guy out there and try to add some life. No, thank you. So, that also affects the Reds a little bit too, which is pretty crazy. But what a story. And I'm here for it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad, it didn't really escalate to anything more than that, because it's a funny story at the end of the day. And how about the last thing I'll say is, how about the trend of men slapping other men? Again, I'm also here for that.
Are you here for that?
Like, if we're over a closed fist, like, knockout.
Yeah, because the
slap is like, I want you to feel this, but I'm not trying to critically injure you, which is like nice, I guess. I'm setting the bar really low because both these guys were very angry and unhinged. I'm just glad they didn't swing with a closed fist.
Yeah. Keep my wife's name
out. Keep Jeff Wilson off the fucking IL. Or IR.
That's the
Keep Jeff Wilson off the fucking IR.
We'll wrap with young people. Royce Lewis on the IL again after getting recalled. On the IL after getting recalled. It's tough. Man.
This team, man. That's, I think, we talk about what could do the Twins in, and everyone said pitching. I think what could do the Twins in is health.
It might just be health.
It might be health, because we're looking at Buxton, Correa,
Sonny Gray now.
Sonny Gray has been on the IL now on like 3 different occasions. It feels like, I don't know what the exact number is, but he goes down again.
Yeah.
Which really stinks, because I loved the trade for them. I would trade Chase Petty 100 out of 100 times, but now, if Sonny Gray is hurt and they don't get much out of him over the next year and a half,
then you're saying darn.
And again, hindsight's 20/20, but it does really hurt when you trade your recently drafted first-round pick. I could see a way where I'm in on the Twins. I'm really excited what they're doing. We've been in on them for a while. At least I've been really excited about them. But if Correa opts out, Royce Lewis gets hurt again, Sonny Gray gets arm surgery, the wheels could fall off. I don't think they will, but it's a little scary here. And that's what's scary about going all in for teams. And I know everyone's like, just DFA Nick Gordon, DFA Nick Gordon, DFA Nick Gordon.
You can't now.
You can't. And now I think we can understand why they didn't. Because I was one of those people that was like, hey, why not just DFA Nick Gordon? You've got Royce Lewis. Royce Lewis has been injury prone for a while. Nick Gordon has no more options. You DFA Nick Gordon, he's getting claimed.
You got to go find somebody else.
He's a good enough player where he's getting claimed in 2 seconds. I know the Marlins will claim him in 2 seconds. That's like my barometer of like, will that guy get scooped up or will he go to the minors? The Marlins will scoop him up real quick. The Reds will scoop him up real quick. I could go through a litany of teams that would scoop him up. They can't do that because he has no more options left. Thank goodness they didn't, because guess who's going right back into the starting lineup? It's Nick Gordon. So that's one of the things that I know fans are always like, hey, like put the young guy in. And I'm usually a proponent of that. But also you have to look at the little things like no options. Are you sure you want to cut ties with this guy? And good thing that the Twins didn't, because I don't know who would have filled in. Maybe Spencer Steer, it would have killing it
in
but
St. Paul right now.
Is he able to play the same positions that some of these other guys are? So it's tough. I really want to see Royce Lewis consistently play because it's been such an awesome story. And the scary thing is, Jack, that's the same knee. that he had the ACL surgery on. So hopefully it's just a little bit of just like soreness,
or inflammation,
and hopefully that gets back down. But the Twins keep playing well, which is the big thing. And Buxton's sucking, objectively sucking.
Well, and they just optioned Jose Miranda down because he just wasn't.
He was brutal. He was brutal, and he'll be fine. We're still high on Miranda, but just not quite ready yet. Needs to work through some things. Next time he comes up, will be good. The big thing with the Twins, I want to talk about it, and I've been in your ear about this a little bit with like updates. Trevor Larnach.
Yeah,
he's already got a 1.3 F4. He's playing fantastic defense in the corner, and he's hitting really well. Striking out 30% of the time, but walking a bunch, hitting for a bunch of power. That can stay. Like you can strike out that much if you're Trevor Larnach, play good defense and walk and homer and you're in business. It's the Joey Gallo mode, but with a little bit more bat to ball. And I actually really like what we're seeing from Trevor Larnach in this like third stint almost in the big leagues. Health again too for Larnach. Yeah, he's healthy.
So I'm an overly negative person when it comes to baseball.
Baseball.
When it comes to other things too, but I'm an overly negative person when it comes to executives, managers, some wrinkles of the sport. But I save my bullets when it comes to being overly negative about players, because I think players are, they're exactly what we need. They're who we like interacting with. What I will say is watching Trevor Larnach second week of the season in St. Paul, he looked lost. He looked pissed off. I did not see this type of season coming from Trevor Larnach one bit.
I remember you texting me and saying, man, it looks really rough right now.
He looked so frustrated. He was like bat slamming after like the first at bat of a game if he went down on 3 pitches.
Well, that's a great sign though now, right? Like it looked like as bad as it could get. And this man turned it around at the big league level.
2 of the AAA season, as bad as it could get.
And he turned it around at the big league level for a team that's trying to win now. So I think Larnach's going to have his ups and downs based on the profile. It's just who he is. But if he's, again, playing great defense as well, this is a guy that's probably going to be playing almost every day out there for them and should be a huge boost. Where I'm wondering is, what are they going to get out of Buxton? I think he's struggling a little bit because there's a lot of sporadic starts for him. Their target was 100 games. He's not playing every day, and now he's slumping. It's more important to have him in the lineup, in September, than it is to have him in the lineup every day in May and June. But I got to imagine that it's very tough to not play every day and stay fresh and stay locked in. And I think that's getting to Buxton a little bit.
And to be totally honest, like, have we had a point for pitchers to get the book written on Byron Buxton? Like, I don't think he's ever been in the lineup consistently enough to have the book written on him.
No, it's like he leaves and then he comes back and lights the world on fire and then leaves and then it comes back, lights the world on fire. It's a fair point. And if that happens, is Buxton going to struggle a little bit more than we thought? Because we always talk about, Buxton being, and talent-wise, he's up there with anybody. But, at the end of the day, this is a guy with a huge amount of swing and miss concern throughout his career. People were talking about, is Buxton a bust as a prospect? Yeah. And now I think it's very evident that he's not a bust. He's a supremely talented player that has figured it out at the big league level to a degree. But what is that degree? Yeah. Is it, upper echelon top 10 player when healthy that everyone seems to be saying, and, we've said sometimes on this podcast? Or is it, more of this super, when he's hot, he's one of the best players in the game, but when he's cold, he's,
frustrating.
More like a Stanton level of guy, where it's like no one considers Stanton a top 10 hitter in the game.
No,
he's phenomenal in a perennial all-star almost.
But there's more failure there than the top 10 hitters in the game.
Yes. And I think maybe Buxton's closer to that. We don't know yet. But I think it's an interesting conversation thing to follow because, like you said, we haven't seen the book come out on Buxton yet. So it should be interesting to see how he bounces back from this because I can't even think of the last time we saw like a Mike Trout go through a stretch like that.
Well, that's a hard example because
but that's what we were talking about here. I mean, that's what a lot of people were saying. When Byron Buxton is healthy, he's a top 3 player in the game.
In 2 years, we're going to be having the same conversation about Luis Robert, and that kills me inside. He's got COVID right now, so he was vaxxed, so he should be back in the next couple of days. But I mean, this guy, he was dealing with a groin thing. Tim Anderson's dealing with the groin thing too. I'm just worried we're going to be having that same type of conversation.
The White Sox are a banged up group.
Yes,
Eloy went right back down, hurt again.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know how they're staying afloat.
Moving on, a couple more young guys that I want to talk about, because when we were talking about this, and it's not apples to apples with Nolan Gorman, it's a little bit different. But sometimes for a team that was expecting to compete and expecting to contend for a World Series, if you sputter at the beginning of the year, your best option might not be on the trade market. It might be in Double-A. And Atlanta just went and got a center fielder from Double-A. Michael Harris is up. Michael Harris got a hit in his major league debut, and you're in love with Michael Harris. And we're pissed that we didn't see him in Pensacola this weekend.
I'm always a proponent of calling the guys up that I think are ready. And this was a surprise, though. It's funny because we were at the game, when we were at the Braves game, we looked at the outfield situation.
It's like Duvall in center, really?
And you were like, where do they go? Like, is this enough? And I was thinking, man, they might call up Michael Harris before the All-Star break, is what I said to you, before the All-Star break. And you're like, wow, really? Like, that would be quick. And I was like, his profile fits it. I didn't think they'd call him up in the next 2 months.
Yeah.
I thought it would be like right around the All-Star break, like let's call him up and right ahead of the Futures game. I'm floored that they called him up this early. This man just turned 21. But it makes sense. Elite defender, elite bat to ball skills, burgeoning power. He is a really interesting prospect that even if he's not raking, he's going to put the bat on ball enough. He's going to give you speed, and he's going to play elite defense and center. And we talked to Zach McCampbell and Griffin Conan yesterday on the Loop stream. And, they were talking about how impressive Michael Harris was.
Yeah.
From the swings that he makes, from the balls that he runs down. He is going to inject life into this Braves lineup. And he's also going to be a huge help for them in that outfield because he's going to play supreme defense out there. And, I really like this guy. I think he's got all of the intangibles. And it's funny because we ranked him ahead of even way earlier, ahead of Drew Waters, Pache. And I dug up some old tweets and just looking at people just kind of yelling.
You're an idiot. Yeah. L ratio.
Yeah.
Bozo.
Oh gosh. It's like, Harris is not that much different than Pache when he first came up. And I'm like, yes, he is.
Yes, he is.
And yes, he is. Michael Harris could be a very, I don't want to throw the word star out too much because I don't think he's going to be like, 330 home runs, whatever.
No,
but he's going to be a fort with 300,
yeah.
15 to 20 pumps, in elite defense and center. That's a top player in the game at his position.
So you think that he and Alec Thomas have very similar profiles?
Absolutely. And that's why they were ranked somewhat similarly. The only difference, Alec Thomas was ranked higher because he raked in AAA.
Yeah.
But they're extremely similar. And I would argue that Michael Harris is a better defender.
Yeah, that's fair. I would say so too. But I think the bat profiles almost identical. And I think Thomas is tapped into the power a bit more. Yeah.
He's been around a bit longer.
He's older. Yeah.
He's older. The profile is very similar.
2019 draft, there have been 3 high schoolers to make their major league debut. Bobby Witt, who, was ready, 2. Obviously, 30-30, and, he was a transcendent talent when he was picked. He's a transcendent talent now. He was our top prospect in baseball. CJ Abrams, who was rushed like nobody's business.
And also a freak of all freaks.
And is crushing AAA pitching right now with El Paso, like killing it. He needed more time in the minor leagues.
Another top 5 pick.
Yes. And then Michael Harris.
3rd round pick.
That tells you what kind of company this guy is in.
If I remember correctly, Michael Harris went 93rd overall.
There we go.
2 top 10 picks. And then the 93rd overall guy are the 3 guys that debuted. Not only is Michael Harris a steal, a local kid that they found in the backyard, which you always hear pop-up prospect for high schoolers that, you can only see so many dudes.
Right.
He broke out at the end. He was a 2-way guy. Some teams liked him more as a pitcher. He's a left-handed thrower.
Yeah.
They liked him low 90s on the mound. Braves liked him as a hitter. And they were right. That's just unbelievable though, that stat. The fact that the 3rd guy, high school guy to debut from the 2019 draft, was the 93rd overall selection. Harris is a steal. We're going to do a 2019 redraft on the call up when we don't have as much to talk about one day. And it's going to be amazing to see how early that 93rd overall selection goes in the redraft.
Yeah.
Because he is a stud and a big boost coming for the Braves. And speaking of that, Mike Soroka is getting closer and closer to his return. throwing. I believe he's throwing off a mound, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
And, that is really exciting to see because I went to the World Series. I saw Mike Soroka limping around still at the World Series, and it broke my heart. It really did. I was really sad about that. Super talented guy. Horrible that what's happened to him now twice.
Yep.
If Soroka could come back and even be a high threes guy for them, low fours guy, eat innings and get ground balls.
They need that so
They
badly.
need that so bad. And I think he can be that. I really do. I can't predict double Achilles tears, but I think he can be that. That would be a huge boost. So the Braves have some reinforcements coming.
I'm not worried about Atlanta right now. I know that a lot of people could be because I think they're still right around 500. They're a couple games under 500 as it stands at the moment. I'm not worried about them at all because they are so talented. This is the type of team that can go on that Houston or Yankee type run where they win 12 in a row and nobody bats an eye, right? Like, oh, here are the Braves. They're back. That's the type of talent they got, especially when Soroka comes back. And with Michael Harris in center, you've got Harris, Acuna, and whoever the hell you want left. Just don't have it be William Contreras like we saw on Monday.
That was heinous.
That was heinous.
One last question for you, from me. What first place team do you think is most likely? I think it's really a 2-horse race here. What first place team do you think is most likely to relinquish their spot?
Minnesota.
Over Milwaukee?
Yeah.
Really?
I think that offense is clicking.
What is clicking for them?
I have no idea.
What's happening right now?
It's timely power. They're putting up great OPS numbers.
I was gonna say 218 runs is really not that bad. The Rays have 198. The Twins have 209. So it's really not that bad.
Dude, I'm telling you, we were expecting Milwaukee to be a bottom 10 defense or bottom 10 offense, and they're a top 10 offense. It's and ridiculous.
I don't know if that's going to sustain, but it I think tells you that they can float in the middle of the pack and then go get another bat. That'll help them. Renfroe was a big get for them.
Renfroe was a huge get. What Rowdy Tellez is doing for them is absolutely massive. And I know that he looks funny, but what he provides for the Milwaukee Brewers is excellent. And it's exactly what they needed. And you know what? Christian Yelich looks like a really good hitter again.
Hopefully he can keep doing it. It's like every time you think he's going to do it, it's like then he slows down a little bit and then he hits for the cycle and then he slows down a little bit. But no, everything looks really good. Arias being back is
Luis
great.
Arias is
massive. I have the stats in front of me right now. I want to take a self-imposed L. The self-imposed suspensions.
Yeah.
Like I remember I grew up a Miami Hurricanes.
Put yourself in timeout.
And when they got caught, with the whole scandal.
Yeah, Nevin Shapiro.
I loved that before they got punished. They're like, we'll punish ourselves so you don't punish us as bad. So before Colby digs up the receipts, I told him I didn't see Rowdy Tellez being like the guy for them because he doesn't walk enough. He's been the guy. So I'll just put the L on my forehead right now. Rowdy Tellez has been great. And you know what? I'm here for Rowdy Tellez being good. But then Arias being a dude for them is great. And then their role players have been really good. Like Tyrone Taylor in spurts has been
Tyrone Taylor is playing really well right now. I think they need an outfielder at the deadline. I think Andrew Benintendi is the perfect fit for the Milwaukee Brewers.
Perfect fit because he's not going to be that expensive because of the fact that he's expiring.
Yeah.
But also at the same time is an impact bat.
Yeah.
And because I don't want the Brewers trading Frelick or Weimer. Not just because we talk to them and they're nice and they're cool, because it doesn't really make sense for them. Their proximity, they could be in the big leagues next year.
Yeah.
So it's like, don't mortgage the future necessarily when your outfield is going to open up pretty clearly after this year. Benintendi's the perfect guy to get, and they could get him for, one of their random pitching prospects and a decent offensive prospect.
So it won't be Ethan Small likely because Ethan Small is going to make his major league debut yesterday. This will come out. This is the Tuesday episode. We haven't seen Ethan Small debut yet at the major league level. He was the guy that was tall and lanky and weird looking that would vary his timing with his delivery at Mississippi State. He was really solid. He pitched for the Bulldogs when they got to Omaha. Small was a guy that had a lot of fanfare right after he was drafted, drifted into obscurity for a moment, but can be a quality back of the rotation arm for the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah. So, it's funny. You asked me the other day, like, what do you think of Ethan Small? And I was like, I don't really know.
Yeah.
I haven't really seen
because nobody kept tabs because it was fine. Like it was like a 3.5.
It's strikeouts and walks.
Yeah.
So it's you're nervous that profile turns into, a disaster.
Nibbling. Yeah.
I think swingman makes the most sense, for this team moving forward. but small to make these spot starts. That's fine.
A taller Brent Suter.
Taller Brent Suter. I mean, look, this is what he was doing in AAA. Striking out 11.5 per 9, walking 5 per 9. So, you're going to sign up for some difficulties there, but he doesn't give up home runs, which is really important in American Family Field. 4.5% home run to fly ball rate. That's been pretty consistent through his minor league career.
Yeah.
So, I think it's going to be interesting. Maybe the command clicks at the big league level. Sometimes that's what happens when you have, big league pitching coach. But talking about a guy that was a swingman that's really clicking too, Spencer Strider. I want to go back to the Braves real quick to wrap up.
I love him.
His fastball slider combination is ridiculous.
I love him.
Again, people see on the call up the conversation we had with Griffin Conan. Griffin homered off of him last year. It was 100 elevated. And he goes, that was one of the moments where I was like, if I hit one off that guy, I can do it. That was one of those where it's like, you hit a home run off a guy, you feel like they're all at your same level. With Strider, he was like, that was a great barometer. He got me a couple times and I caught up to his fastball. But Strider's fastball is electric. His slider's disgusting. And now he's mixing in, a third pitch a bit more. Strider could be a dude for them as a starter. And I'm very, very interested to see what, how the Braves are going to continue to use Strider, because here's the reality of it. Huascar Ynoa has been a massive disappointment. And he's going to kind of be that guy, I think, that they thought Ynoa was going to be for them, which is dominate with the fastball slider, get a ton of whiffs, and end up bolstering the back end of that rotation. And that's great news for the Braves.
How tall do you think Spencer Strider is?
I think he's short.
I just had to Google it.
I think he's 6 foot.
He's 6 foot.
Yeah, because guess what he is? Low release, high spin fastball with ride, hammer slide.
You know what he is? He's Trevor Rosenthal at his peak with more endurance.
Yeah.
It's exactly what Spencer Strider is. And if Trevor Rosenthal was like,
better command too.
Borderline Cy Young votes as a closer, and Strider's out here doing it for 4 innings at a time.
What's Trevor Rosenthal up to?
I don't know. He had a big league deal a couple of years ago.
Yeah, he came back. He looked good.
He did look good. I don't know. I'll Google it right now, actually. I'm very curious.
So before we wrap up, we'll wait for Jack to Google where Trevor Rosenthal is.
You can plug our social medias again.
I'm so bad at that. But on Twitter, at Just BB Media, we hit 5K.
Good job.
We hit 5K. And you have one more day. This is the last day to download the Loop app to get your $20 credit. The link is in our description. Definitely use that app to get your free $20. Jack used it and pulled a Lennon Sosa, who is a really exciting White Sox prospect that we are very in on. But I think your Google search is finished. But click that link in the description. Helps us out big time to download the Loop app, get your free $20 credit.
Rosenthal, 32 years old. He's currently a free agent. He missed the entire 2021 season after undergoing thoracic outlet syndrome surgery in April.
He's done.
And then another procedure in July to repair a torn labrum in his hip.
Oh, he's toast.
This guy's battered.
Poor guy.
Oh.
At least he got his bag. I think he got a pretty high AAV on the 1-year deal.
I'll tell you right now, man. I'll pull up his baseball reference.
Rosenthal, I would have bet a lot of money on him being older than 32.
Yep, 32. He's a young 32. He's been around since he was 22 in 2012 with St. Louis.
I mean, he was so awesome out of the gate. Again, 100 before it was really, when it was still cool.
Yeah.
And Rosenthal, I'm always looking at in the weeds relievers that you could scoop up. Yeah. But torn hip labrum and thoracic outlet's usually the kiss of death. That's nerve issues in your shoulder. Sometimes you just never get the velo back.
Right. But congratulations to Trevor Rosenthal making
it. Was 10 mil, wasn't it?
He made 11 last year.
Yeah. Okay.
Congratulations to him.
Good for you.
$32.6 million accrued over your major league career.
Wish you a speedy recovery, Trevor Rosenthal, but at least you got all that money to lay on as well.
You're chilling, man. You can do the Wolf of Wall Street thing where you do a snow angel in the bed full of money.
Carefully, thoracic outlet.
Oh yeah,
and the hip.
You got to worry about the wing.
I don't know. You don't want to send anything out of whack there.
True that. All right. That'll be Aram and Peter tomorrow on the Just Baseball Show. Again, stay tuned on the call-up. Sal Frelick and Joey Weimer conversations coming out today. And then tomorrow we've got Griffin Conan and Zach McCambley conversations coming out. Good convos with a bunch of guys that will make their major league debuts sooner rather than later. So that was all good. Plugged the socials at the beginning. Aram kinda did it. Really good on him. And Aram and Peter will talk to you tomorrow.